Well, we just pulled in from our weekend in Canada, which you saw last week, and our solar panels have just arrived right before us. They called us when we were crossing the border and we were able to meet them right here, so we're glad that we can be here and get these solar panels.
That's glorious.
All right, now that we're back from Canada, let's get all these utilities going. So we've opened up one of the solar panels and we're going to plug it into our EcoFlow Delta battery tower just to make sure that everything's working okay before we put anything on the roof. We've got 8 of these huge 240 watt solar panels.
All right, if you come around and if you look at that top number, that's what's coming in. So these are 240 panels, and this is currently on a little bit of an overcast day, partly sunny. It's pulling in that 178 it's reading, and then our RV right now is pulling 450 in part because it's topping off our lithium batteries. The RV actually doesn't need that much, but our lithium batteries have been running stuff while we were traveling.
So if we had that times 8 panels, it'd be double what we're pulling right now.
Oh yeah, and then some.
Nice. So when we talk about RV utilities, there's 3 main things that we need to do to this land because we have nothing here. There's no outside power coming into the land. There's no pipes or anything dug here. It's just undeveloped forest. So when you go to a campground with an RV, there's 3 things that you're looking for when they call it full hookups. You have an electrical plug on the post, you have a water hookup, and you have a sewer dumping spot. So we're going to need to do all 3 of those on the land. Today we're talking about electricity. So since we have no outside power coming into the land and we don't have any plans to, this is a 3-season undeveloped road. There are 2 main ways that you get electricity to your RV. So obviously if you're at a campground, you take the big plug that's from your RV, it's a 50 amp plug or 30 amp depending on your RV, and you would plug it into the electrical post that is going to be the electrical grid of the town or the city, whatever. That's just like at your house. Everybody understands that. So what if you don't have outside electricity coming in? The other way to get power to your RV is with a generator. Now, most people are familiar with a gas-powered or propane-powered generator. They're really loud, they're smelly, you have to put them outside. Maybe if you lose power in the wintertime, you might have a generator that you hook up for your house power. So you can plug your RV right into a generator and that will provide power for your RV. Now, it's not going to run everything. You usually can't run air conditioners or you can't have the microwave on at the same time as the hairdryer, that kind of thing. It will kick out the circuit. So for a little bit of power, you can use a generator. The one that we have is propane. It's actually dual gas and propane, but we only hook it up to our propane tanks. So that's kind of our minimum boondocking. It will last us for a day or 2, depending on how much propane we have. So the other type of generator that you can use is a solar generator, and that is what our EcoFlow towers are. They're solar generators that have lithium batteries in them. And so we could plug our RV directly into our solar generator and also use those batteries to power the RV. Again, it's not going to last forever. You can't run everything with it, but that's another source of power. Now, you'll notice from the name solar generator, the way that those batteries get charged again is from solar panels. Now, the little bit of confusing thing is you can also charge a solar generator with a regular propane gas generator, which we have done. We've filled up our EcoFlow tower batteries with our propane generator, but it's noisy. It doesn't last very long. You know, you have to use up your propane to do that. So we have gotten solar panels to charge our solar generator to power our RV, and that's why we want to make sure that we have enough solar panels on the roof of our RV, which since our RV is so huge, we should have no problem getting enough power up there, assuming that we're in a clear, sunny spot. You know, at nighttime, solar generators or panels are not pulling in any power. So you'll have to charge up your batteries during the day while it's sunny, and then at night there's no power coming in and you run off of your batteries. And the beautiful thing about solar, I think, is that it's quiet. Generators are loud and noisy and smelly, so they're not really a long-term solution as far as we're concerned. But if we're going to live in an off-grid property long term, and we're planning to be here for a few months at a time each year, we want solar so we can have that clean, quiet energy that's feeding into our towers, and it's going to be great. You can see that the main RV plug is plugged into here into a 30 amp dog bone because the towers are only 30 amp, but our RV is 50 amp.
Yep.
All right, we're getting
Pretty
it
cool.
done.
What are we doing here?
We're working on the well today.
First, we have to test. We want to test the pump before we do all the work of putting down there. And the instructions recommend that.
What kind of pump is this?
It's a 110 volt or 115, whatever. So this would run on normal house power. So we want to test that this will pump. So we got to.
So we filled our brand new garbage can that we have never used yet with some water from our water bladder.
So that's in there.
We're just testing to make sure the pump works okay.
Yeah. This blue electrical cord comes pre-attached there, and then I will splice it in with waterproof, watertight splicing, and then I've temporarily put this plug on here so I can test it. All right, let's see. So we're hoping water comes out the end of that. Ready?
Yep.
There we go.
Looks good.
So at least the pump works. Now
we got to figure out how to get it down here.
So we have all the plumbing on the well pump, and then here's the barb. I got an extra long one, and I need it to go onto this 1 1/4 poly 200 psi 100-foot length of stuff. And I'm going to soften it a bit so it's easier to slide on there. Is at least the idea. We'll see how that goes. Whew. This one I can pound in after I've softened it.
So we've got the well pump. All the pieces are connected here. We've got this torque arrestor to keep it from banging against the pipe when the well pump is submerged. We've got the electrical wire and the safety rope to keep it from falling. The rope will keep it from falling if something came loose, which it shouldn't. And now we're going to tape down the entire 90-foot length of this pipe. When it's all taped together, then we can drop it down the well.
We get water. All right, I'm hot on something. All right, last bit going in. Woo! And I gotta do a nice box for the wiring here, but
Yeah.
it's
Need to wire in the switch or plug so that we can have power to
yeah,
it.
and that'll be in a box that lives here.
Okay, so we can't get water out of it yet.
We get water in about less than 10 minutes because I just wire the plug back on the end
okay.
and plug it in and hose. Awesome. How do you feel about your 98% done well?
I feel like it's almost there.
All right, I add the plug back on. I plug this in. And if I turn this on, the hope is water will come out of that hole eventually.
Okay, let's see it.
Let's hear. You should hear it first.
Oh,
Come on.
well, that was tough in the hose.
Come on. That's glorious. 15
well water.
gallons a minute, 900 gallons an hour is
Yeah.
what we've been told.
Don't flood the land. Another project almost done.
We're 90% done. Let's start a different project. And then we'll get back to this one months later. She's still gone?
She just left again.
Oh, well, you were there.
Babies. 2 of the 3 eggs have hatched. The mom is in and out of here. We've been watching this nest in the ground for a couple of weeks now. We noticed it, I don't know how we noticed it, because there's 3 bright blue eggs in it. And I read that it's a sparrow nest, and that sparrows nest in the ground on their first nesting cycle. So when they're young and they're just first starting to nest, they do in the ground. And as they get older, the nests move up the trees to get higher and higher. So I've never seen a sparrow nest in the ground before, but we've been watching these, and we've got our little reflector here, and we're trying to cover this with a table so that as the equipment comes in back and forth, they won't be disturbed. Luckily, they're off to the side a little bit. And now today we've just noticed that 2 of them have hatched. That's really special. Well, we've got our septic tank down in the hole. That is the next step in this whole process. Now what needs to happen is the leach field needs to be installed, which will happen in the next few days. And then we need to decide where we're going to have the outlets come so that we can hook up to the RV and have some different inlets for a cabin and future RV spots. But it's just all moving along and heading in the right direction. So we've made some good progress. The well is functional. We were able to fill our fresh tank, and that is working great. The septic tank is in the ground. However, we don't have the leach field done yet or the piping out at all. So we've had a little break here because Jason is out of town for several days on a business trip. So I just wanted to give you an update of what I'm doing here by myself. Not much progress is being made on the land, but just wanted to show you that, I'm kind of here alone, and which was a little concerning at first, that I would be left here for several days by myself, kind of in the middle of nowhere, and thinking about security issues. But before Jason left, we talked about it quite a bit, and we made sure that some different devices were set up to make us both feel more comfortable. We've got the Ring security system on our RV, which we've had for, I think, a couple years now, which we love. So anytime I'm inside of the RV by myself, I just put that alarm on. That way I know that if anybody comes around and tries to mess with the bay doors or tries to get in a window, that alarm will sound even if I'm here, which is comforting to me. And at night, everything's locked up and the alarm is on. And then we do kind of know some of the neighbors here. There aren't many people in this area, but Steve, who is our excavator, is kind of in and out of here every 2 or 3 days doing stuff anyway. He knows that Jason is gone, so and he lives nearby, so I feel comfortable that he's kind of a resource. And probably our other neighbors are within a mile of us. We have met some of the other people on the dirt road, so I feel comfortable that there are resources around me, and I'm not just like here in the middle of nowhere and no one knows where I am. And then as far as the tank situation, now our black tank can go easily for 2 weeks. We usually try it when we're at RV parks, we dump it every week, but it can go for 2 weeks. Now with Jason gone, it can probably last a little more than 2 weeks. So I am really hoping that by the time this black tank needs to be dumped, that this sewer is set up at least to the point where we can run a hose down into the big tank and just empty the tank. Then that's the plan. The gray tank, however, does fill up about every 4 days. So my solution for that is that I have hooked up all of our slinky hoses and run them all together out the back of the RV. And when I string all 3 of the hoses together, it reaches about 35 feet. Well, I've stretched it as far as I can out into the woods, and I just kind of dump the gray water out into the woods as I need to relieve that tank a little bit until we can get the sewer set up to dump it. And I'm comfortable doing that. I know lots of people just dump their gray tanks on the ground. It's not the most, polite thing to do when you're around other campers or at an RV park, certainly. But when we're here on our own land, a gray tank is just kitchen sink water and shower water. There's no toilet water in it at all. So it can be a little bit smelly depending on what kind of food is in your kitchen sink, but, it's nothing dangerous or really gross. It smell for a few minutes and then it dissipates. So that's what I've been doing, just kind of relieve that gray tank onto the ground. And our fresh tank is doing great on the well. So I feel like I'm pretty well set up here, and our solar panels have been doing great. We've got the 8 solar panels on the ground here, and Jason set up the towers inside the RV before he left, and the generator is all set up. So if there's a cloudy day and we don't bring in as much solar as we need, I just fire up the generator for an hour or 2 and top those off, and it's lasted great. I've only had to do the generator a couple of times. Mostly, and you can see right now it's full sun, mostly the sun and solar power is enough to keep me going throughout the day and overnight. And I'm not running a lot in there. The refrigerator is running, a couple of the ceiling fans just to keep the air flowing. But other than charging my phone and my laptop, and occasionally turning on the microwave, I'm really not running a lot of electronics in there. So the solar is more than sufficient for me during this time. So I just want to give you a little update. Oh, now you might be wondering how we're getting mail out here. Well, we've talked before about how we have this mail forwarding service in South Dakota, which is our legal mailing address, and they are still forwarding mail to us wherever we are. So having a brand new piece of land like this that was not previously an address or a home or anything, we had to apply for a 911 emergency address from the state of Maine. And that was a real quick process. Took about a week for them to come out here and survey and see what should our number be and what is the road name. And so we have our address now. And I do have a mailbox set up at the end of the driveway. And we've also gotten this plastic deliveries box that we have out by the road too, which I love because we live on Amazon. We order almost everything, even grocery items. We're constantly getting Amazon packages, sometimes multiple times a day. So I knew that we would have to have some kind of receptacle out there for people to easily deliver things. And it's worked out great. That box can hold, 2 or 3 small boxes. Now, if the package is larger, and we've been getting some larger equipment here, like the solar panels and other things that we need for the land, sometimes the delivery trucks will actually drive up the driveway and drop them right at the RV door, which is very nice. And I feel comfortable with that because we have personally met, I think, all of our delivery people, UPS, FedEx, the postman, like, they're local people, and now they've met us and we've met them, and it's not like random people coming all the time. This is a very small town. It's one guy, Barry, coming to deliver your package. So I'm really grateful that we've met so many people here already and that I can feel like we're starting to be part of this community. So I'm basically just hanging out here and working most days. I run into town sometimes. It's about a 20-minute drive to get up to town. And today I went in there and did laundry. They have a nice laundromat there with big, new, modern machines. There's tons of machines in there, and I can pay for them with Apple Pay or credit card, which is perfect. I don't have to carry around quarters. And I went up to the dump to unload my recycling and all my cardboard boxes. I could order a trash service to come out here, but since we're only here for a few months a year, it didn't make sense to sign up for that service. So I drive our trash up to the dump, and all of the recycling is free. I just separate out the metal and the paper and the cardboard, and I can dump that for free, but it does cost just a few dollars to dump household trash there. And so I go up there maybe once a week and do that while I'm in town anyway. It's great. I've been watching these little sparrow eggs. They've hatched. They hatched after about 2 weeks, but only 2 of the 3 eggs hatched. And we watched the third one for about another week, but I don't think it survived. So today it's gone. The mom must have gotten rid of it. And every time I walk near this table, she flies away, or I can see her hopping over there. But these 2 little babies are getting pretty big, and there you can start to see their feathers growing in. I'm so glad that we found them because it's so fun to watch them. Oh, get in. Babies are hungry. What do you think, babies?